tokenizing and parsing strings. So a lot of languages call this tokenizing or parsing, and so if you Google those terms, you'll get a lot of search results. What tokenizing does, or parsing, is that it divides a string up into words, also known as tokens. So some languages will refer to this as a token, other languages will call it a word. SAS tends to use the word word. And in essence, what it does is it divides that line up into these words or tokens based on a delimit character. So how do we do this in SAS? Well, we do it with the scan function. So what scan does is it says take string s, return word num. So I want word num based on these delimiters. Let's do a simple example. I've read in 3 sentences. So the first one is, this is a sentence. The dog ran fast. And the third one is, I do not like green eggs and ham. If we say word 1 is going to be scan s comma 1. What that means is extract the first word from string s. Word 2 then would be the second word by putting in a 2 in that second argument. So let's go see what we get. If I print out, I've extracted the first 4 words. Word 1 for sentence 1 is this, word 2 is, word 3 is a, and word 4 is sentence. One thing to note, word 4 is sentence as opposed to sentence period. You might expect that period up here to be part of word 4. The reason for that is that the default list of delimiters includes a wide variety of special characters and the space. And so what SAS does is it treats that period as a space, as a delimit character, and it gets rid of it when it does this tokenizing. Likewise with the second sentence and the third sentence, we just got out to the 4th word and we stopped. Okay, what would be an interesting exercise is if you modified this function and added a 3rd argument. So say comma, quote, space, quote. What that would say is SAS use only spaces as delimit characters. And if you did that, what you should find is that that 4th word is sentence dot, and the 4th word in that second sentence is fast dot, so fast period. So I encourage you to try that. So this is extremely important function to know about, and you will find it in most other languages. Let me give you another example of why this is so important. One situation where I tend to use this a lot is if I'm parsing a URL. So I've pulled a few URLs from one of the air miles files, and whenever you have a weblog, excuse me, a weblog consists of something like this: http://community.airmiles.ca/something/something/something. All right, so these URLs are organized in a very systematic way. Important pieces of information are separated by slashes. So let's extract the domain name. So that domain name would be that second token. And so let's go look at what you get. So the first token, if we extract the first word, now I'm saying use only the slash as a delimit character. The first word is http://. The second word is this domain name. And then the third token is going to be some other stuff. The 4th token is what you would expect. Now sometimes I might want to strip off just the last part of this. So a .ca indicates a Canadian website. .es would be a Spanish website. .de would be a German website. And so I might use multiple scans, so I could scan just this word, the second token, using the dot delimiter, and then the third argument to that, or the last argument of that, would be the country of this website, and so that's something I often want to do. All right, so you can hopefully see where the scan function is going to be very useful to us whenever we have especially web logs, but also other text data. A few more string functions for you. Very often we want to find substrings within a string. So there are two functions. One's kind of a simple version of the other. So index is the simple version of the find function. So find is kind of the same thing as index, but it offers you additional options. I've never used find before. I've never needed those extra options. I think find is actually a new function in version 9 of SAS. So I'm pretty happy with index. But should you only want to look in part of a string, you'd use the find option. Okay, so let me give you a little illustration of this. Let's go back to that weblog from the Air Miles website. And so what you'll see is a couple things. So first off, all of these things go to the Canadian Air Miles community website. Now, the way this website is organized is into two languages. So there's like two branches. If you click on English, then they have an English version of the website. If you're from Quebec, you probably want the French version, and so then there's a parallel version of French, of the website in French, and you click on that. So what you're going to see is this first slash after Community Air Miles Canada refers to whether you're on the English or the French page. Okay, so maybe I want to identify whether a record is on the English website or on the French website. One way to do this is to just search for the string French, string FR. Okay, so if I did index URL, comma, quote FR, what this is going to do is it's going to return the character number in the string where FR begins. So let's go take a look at this. Down below you'll see that, okay, in this particular instance there is an FR, and that must begin in position 30. If we counted all these characters, that F would be in position 30 and R would be in position 31. If SAS cannot find the string FR, it's going to return the value 0. So this offers me one way to determine whether or not there's an FR in the string. Just so if FR equals 0, that means FR is not in the string. If it returns any value 1 or greater, that means that it found FR in the string. I'll give you another example. After this English, French, language indicator, the website's divided up into various sections. So you get a discussion page, a getting started page, a tricks page. So maybe I want to find whether or not this is a tricks visit versus a discussion or whatever else. All right, well, if I do, let's find the first occurrence of the word tricks, and here's what you get. So notice the first 4 or 5 lines get 0, indicating that these are not on the tricks page. The next lines return a value greater than 0, indicating that these are on the tricks page. Now, one more subtle point here. Doing what I did here is slightly sloppy, and here's why. Perhaps there is some string after this, the third part of the URL. So HTTP is the first part, then this piece, then FR. There could be some other stuff out here that has an FR in it. Right? So a better way to identify whether this is a French-speaking website is to first use the scan function. So let's take the third token, where tokens are separated by slashes, and that's going to return to me just this piece. And then let's test whether that's equal to the string FR. And if it is, we'll say, well, French is yes, otherwise French is no. All right, so that's probably a better way. It's definitely a better way than what I did up here. However, we're going to be using this index function, so I wanted to illustrate it with this data set. Okay, good.